been really looking forward to this particular episode, this particular show, because we're really going to be digging into we've been dealing with in the country for the past five months, almost 6 months, right? Something like that. And so, so just let you all know, we're having individuals on. We're going to have some educators on, some teachers on, nurses on, some individuals that have dealt with COVID or the Rona, that have dealt with it, that have caught it, went through the whole deal. And thank God they're on this side with us. And then also two individuals that are dealing with it right now, like that are dealing with it right now, this minute. So, that's pretty much kind of where we want to be at and everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let these ladies in, and I'm going to pop them all in, let them all come in real quick as they pop in. I see one, I see two. And once again, I want to appreciate everybody that's joining us this evening. Feel free. We'll be in the chat. There'll be time that we'll be able to let you come in and comment in here a little bit later. But like I said, our whole deal here at RSS, myself and Lou, is that we wanted to start out with individuals, how I like to say in military terms, boots on ground, individuals who are right there in the thick of it, making it happen, and being able to really be able to give a sense of what's really going on in their vantage point. And so that is what I'm going to see that's going to be really, really important. Let me get in one more. Okay, there she is. Just waiting on I want to say hello to the ladies that I can see right there. I see Miss Shelly Jernigan. I want to say hello. How are you doing, sister?
Hello, I'm doing well.
Excellent, excellent. I see Missy Ned Johnson. That's my lovely bride right there. How you doing, ma'am?
Now that I've finally got this internet working, I'm okay.
Okay, all right. And I see there. Oh, might have to turn. Somebody's got to turn their stuff down real quick. And I got there Miss Hillary. How you doing there, Miss Hillary?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing excellent. I see you there with the dookie braids. A lot of folks, everybody here knows what that is because we all old like that. So.
That's right. That's right. Okay.
And then I see Miss Tanisha there. How you doing there, sister?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. So real quick, like I said, we're going to get right into this. Once again, we want to thank you ladies for taking the time out with joining myself and Lou, really digging into this COVID thing. So first and foremost, before we get started, I just want to, for the folks out there joining us, I want to kind of let you know who we're talking to, their credentials. Like I said, in the military, this is their rank, on how much time they put into this thing. So I want to start out with Miss Tanisha Stiles. She works out here in Southern California, kindergarten teacher, and she's been doing this for 25 years. So she is definitely an OG when we talk about an OG for sure. So appreciate you. Next, we want to get with Miss Shelly Jernigan, who's out there in Kern County. And she teaches second grade, and she's been teaching for 13 years. Once again, we talk about individuals that are in the thick of it. Then, of course, I got family right here, Miss Hillary Thompson, also out in Kern County High School District for 21 years. And actually, she has started the first African-American literature course out there. So salute to you, sister. Salute to you.
That's right.
Make your computer easier to use.
And so, yeah, somebody's on there. And then, of course, I see you. And then, of course, Miss Annette Johnson, she's our lead school nurse out here in Southern California, registered nurse for 20 years and credentialed school nurse for 13 years. So once again, ladies, I appreciate you. So what we're going to do is we'll start with kindergarten and work our way up and then end with the nurse. And we'll go with questions first off, and then we're going to do kind of a free for all sort of. So Tanisha, so the first question, and this is going to basically for everybody, so you guys can, kind of think about it or whatnot. The first thing you want to do is first of all, how are you adapting to this new norm as a teacher, and how are you adapting it with the students that you were coming out of the school year, and then obviously the students that are coming into the school year?
I would say that it was much easier adapting to distance learning last school year because I had known those kids for 3/4 of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I am not a fan of virtual learning. Like for per se, I prefer to be in person with my students at 5 years old. Meeting your teacher over the computer screen, I think, is a bit impersonal, but
Mhm.
due to their safety reasons, of course, I welcome the opportunity to do that. So I've been researching and I'm coming up with every way I can to help to engage them and to give them the best possible education I can provide due to the circumstances that we're in. So that's
Mhm.
what I look forward to this upcoming year. It's made me up my technology game, um, creating virtual classrooms as well, different things for their parents to also engage them in as well. So
Mhm.
did I
Okay.
answer that?
Yeah, yeah,
Right,
yeah. That's
right.
good. Yeah, let's move on to Miss Shelley. Same question.
It was a bit difficult ending the school year last year. I will not lie about that. It was tough. I'm in a lower socioeconomic area. Um, I did, at closing out the school year, we did packets because a lot of our students did not have access to the internet or a device. So
Mm.
we did packets. About 15 out of my 20 checked in. I was able to contact them. 5 I was not able to contact at all. So that was just tough. Just like Tanisha said, it was just very impersonal. But I mean, we have to do what we have to do. But we've done a lot of work over the summer in our district, so I'm excited for what's going to come up. Like Tanisha said, also we've been doing a lot of the virtual classroom planning, and our school district has done some really neat stuff to get us ready. So I'm excited. It's going to be a lot different to meet them that way, but I'm excited to get the school year going.
Excellent, excellent. Hillary.
Yes. Everything that the two ladies just said, and then some, with high school kids, we had 24 hours to turn around and figure out how we were going to continue learning for kids. I think the good thing was that I had already established relationships with them for 3/4 of the year. So it was easier to transition within that 24 hours, but it was hard. It was really tough because, dealing with teenagers, their mental health is everything. And that's really what I worried more about than anything with my kids, was that I didn't care if they wrote the essay or did that assignment. I just wanted to make sure that they were eating and healthy, and they weren't, you know what I mean? And so that was really my biggest fear of everything. I didn't care about the work. I'm going to be honest with you. As an English teacher, it didn't matter. I just cared that they were waking up and they felt safe, and that they weren't, their anxiety wasn't getting the best of them that day. They weren't, going back into any form of depression. I mean, because, teenagers, they deal with a lot more than we think they do. So, yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Inette, since you're in the district dealing with, am I correct, high school, junior high and high school?
Just high school.
Just high
Just a
school. Okay.
district.
So how are you as the school nurse, one of the head nurses out here, how are you having to adapt, and what have you having to do since this thing has started up to now?
So for my end, because we couldn't provide like the direct, not patient care, but direct medical needs to our students anymore because they were at home. So a lot of mine was working with our LVNs that we have in the district. We looked at it as an opportunity for training, like the trainings we weren't able to do before. Maybe we can get some of those things in now. But then also it was for, because every child that has an IEP, so I'm supposed to do their health assessment. That's like, okay, how am I going to do a health assessment on a child that I can't see? How can I get hearing and vision on a child that I can't see?
Yeah.
And whereas when I'm on campus, if I have a family, because my general population at one school is largely Latino, and another school is largely Korean. So if the parents don't speak English, I can find somebody to kind of help me. I don't have anybody to help me at home to try to get these answers done for kids, to get these special ed assessments. So for us, it was that. And then our state school nurse association was like very heavily trying to make sure that we were updated on the latest information and trying to get things out. And we were already thinking about how to make plans and everything, but we kept getting delayed from the state because we kept waiting for the state and our local health departments to relay the information for us so that we could go forward. But it was not there.
Okay, Lou.
Yeah.
Any question? I got a whole list. I know you got some. So
I just one question I really have, and because I know every district, every state, there are different amounts of assistance that districts are able to give to their kids to be able to be online or to have the tools they need for distance learning. I'm just curious to hear from you guys, since it sounds like you're all three of you are in different districts. What are some of the things that the districts are doing to bridge that gap, especially for, like you said, with lower socioeconomic students, to have the tools available to them so they could distance learn like some of the other kids that may be in more affluent districts are able to?
I can address that. Ending the school year for us here in Bakersfield, our schools are, how did it go? I think third and up had one Chromebook for each student that was third grade and up. And I teach second grade. So if my child didn't already have one at home, they either have to share with an older sibling or they didn't have anything. Right. So, and they had buses in the neighborhoods with the internet that didn't work very well at all. So our district did a lot of hard work over the summer. They bought 30,000 new Chromebooks so that every student in the district will have one. And then they're acquiring hotspots for each student in the district. So they've done a tremendous job of getting our students ready for the upcoming school year. So that's just great. So everybody, even the pre-K will have the access to a Chromebook. So that's what our district has done.
Tanisha? Can she hear? Let's go. Hillary, why don't you go on ahead?
Same with the Kern High School district. I was about 5 days after our shutdown. Our site in our district, sent out the message that if anybody needed a Chromebook, they could come check one out. We also provided like packets at our site as well as online instruction. We were told that we needed to make sure we do both. And then I think now kind of gearing up for the start of the year, we're doing the same thing, the Chromebooks and then also the hotspots. We also had the mobile buses around neighborhoods that were identified as, maybe areas where students didn't have access to Wi-Fi or internet as well. So I'm hoping that they continue that, and I think, and I'm not sure if this was true for the other districts, but I know Spectrum had a deal going on for like the first 60 days were free, where they would provide Wi-Fi service for households who didn't have it if they needed it. So I'm really hoping that they kind of partner up with the district again and do something like that as well.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. Mobile bus. That's awesome. That's awesome. Tanisha, you have to unmute. Oh, you have to let me unmute her.
I'm sorry. That was me. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
In my area, it is more of I would say the majority middle class. So let's see, when we first were dismissed on the 13th, then we had spring break. So 3 days into the next week, by then our district had set up a plan where all kids, kindergarten through 8th grade, because I'm in a small district, kindergarten through 8th grade, they were able to come and pick up a Chromebook if they needed. And I think that if they needed any Wi-Fi assistance, they would need to let us know, and then they would work something out with a local internet company like Spectrum to help them. They also they were really good about giving the kids their meals throughout the day, because I know, like you said, the emotional and the health and well-being of these students are important. So they did keep that a constant thing, I would say, throughout that school year, where they were able to, they would do the grab and go, get your lunch, but you also get the breakfast for the next day. So then you come back and get the lunch again, and 2 meals at a time.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's good. I want to go, and like I said, ladies, I'm gonna let you kind of go. If anything, Ned, I might have you go first. So what going back to school, because that's the hot thing right now going on, that individuals want students back in school. This president is pushing that individuals get back in school, but yet and still his son's school is shut down, and that's a whole nother thing. But how doable, I want to ask you all this from where you're at, how doable is it, or how do you feel personally, how doable is it to have students in the classroom, regardless if it's 5 days a week, 2 days, 3 days? How do you feel? Where's your personal? And I know with Enette, or with the nurse, as the resident nurse here, I know she's going to come in a different place, but I want to hear from all of you all. And then, of course, Ned, I want you to end it out with that. So, ladies, I want to hear, what are you thinking, as in how doable is it as of right now, or even if it is, from your assessment? And I just want to hear from each and every one of you all. I can see some of you shaking your head. That's good. But I want to hear, but not only that, but I want to hear more of a tangible reason why, because it's easy just to say, no, it's not happening. But I want to hear from your vantage point on why, because like I said, we're talking about different cities, different districts, different everything. So ladies, why don't you go ahead and take it, whoever wants to go off first. Hillary?
Well, I think from a physical aspect, I mean, I don't know that schools were designed to social distance kids, so even from kindergartners all the way through high school kids, they like to touch each other, they like to hug each other, they like to be around each other, and they may be worse than kindergartners. So
exactly,
physically our classrooms were not designed for kids to not interact with each other. That's what school's about, and my biggest concern with all of this, like forcing this back on us and making us social distance and wear masks and all this, and it's almost like we're training kids to stay away from each other, and we're kind of dehumanizing the whole social aspect of school. And that I had a problem with. I can't not hug kids. I love kids. That's why I teach, but just in a physical aspect, there's no way in the world that we would be able to have kids 6 feet apart in a classroom. And I don't get me started on how they would even deal with lunch with, I don't, 2,900 kids on a campus, and you got to feed all of them and social distance. Good luck, So just physically alone, there was just no way that it was going to happen.
Yeah. I think, Enette, I was talking to you about it, and you were saying a plan that they had brought out in elementary school. They were saying, of course, we had to do the social distancing, and then at recess time, it was 1 ball per kid. Play by yourself, that's not realistic. Students like to touch, and as soon as they see each other, they're gonna run up to each other, hug, and say, "Oh my gosh, it's been so long since I've seen you." So, it's not realistic to have them together right now. I just think there's just not enough that's known about COVID. I've been listening to some podcasts, and they were saying 2%. It was from the New York Times, a podcast that was done. 2% of infected kids are getting very sick, and kids age 10 and less are likely to spread the virus. And they've done a few studies about it. But personally, I just don't feel comfortable being in the classroom right now. We don't know. I don't know about the transmission. I'm just not comfortable with it. And I think, even the teachers, like some teachers have pre-existing conditions. Some teachers are older, and we have to be concerned about the teachers as well, not just the kids, but, the adults that could be affected by it as well in the classroom.
Tanisha.
I think that, of course, it is a difficult task. I don't know. We were due to go back hybrid, and it was to split my students of 30 in a class, 15 in the morning, and then 15 in the afternoon. But I can't fathom, with no recess, with no lunch break.
And you're and you're kindergarten.
You're kinder.
And I am kindergarten.
Wow. Good luck with that.
Right. We have a typical half-day program. It's 3 hours and 20 minutes. So the first 3 hours and 20 minutes. The 3 hours would be with 15 kids. The other 3 hours in the afternoon would be with the rest of the class. But they had in place certain procedures: take your temperature, different ways to enter the campus, to exit, no one else is on campus, all that. But our district, I was telling Enette that our board voted against virtual learning, going to virtual learning as a whole, as our numbers were increasing in our county. And I was quite shocked because I think initially everyone had hopes of coming back and making some sort of hybrid situation work. However, as the numbers start to speak volumes, I think they started to change their mind, parents and teachers, because it's a huge risk. Like Shelley said, it's a risk not only for the students, but also for the teacher and their families and what could actually occur. So I found it, I was very pleased with Governor Newsom for stepping in and mandating that the virtual school be put in place. And again, every teacher is not comfortable with being on camera or teaching that way. I was teaching in a bedroom in my home all that time because we weren't allowed to go on campus and get things. We left that day with what we had, and I used Amazon to deliver to make the best of it. So I think it's definitely a huge feat that we have up against us.
Wow. Net, so you coming as a school nurse, I know you've been on tons of meetings, not only with the district, but also the state as well. So I know you'll be able to bring a different perspective in this, dealing on the medical side. So what do you have to say about this? And,
well, I'll just make one correct. So the study that Shelley was mentioning, that was reported in the New York Times. So it was kids 10 and up are more likely can spread as well as adults, which didn't surprise me too much. And like I said, I'm in a high school district, so I already knew that those kids could spread the virus quite efficiently. But my thing with the elementary was not so much of the kids spreading, but it's the teachers. I know everybody acts like it's all these kids bringing all these diseases to the school. These teachers are out. They're going to the lake. They're going on vacation. They haven't social distance at all. And then they're going to come back to the district. So we need to stop blaming these families and these kids who've been locked up in their houses all summer long. All these other people have been out and about. Right. And so when these orders first came through, and I think when they first came through from the state or CDC, I can't remember who, and they were saying these temperature checks. And honestly, so it would usually be like 400 of us school nurses from the state in these meetings. And we just all kind of chuckled because he said, I know they're going to think that it's the school nurses that are going to screen 3,000 kids at a school.
Right.
when we're splitting up between 2 and 3 schools each. So that these kids will be lined up at 3 o'clock in the morning for us to go through temperature checks. And honestly, the temperature checks, I know it's reassuring for some, but it's not a definitive sign. No, and many of our kids, their signs and symptoms, it's not fever. So the younger kids, you'll see like the GI upset, the nausea, that sort of thing. You won't see the temps. What we could see is a difference in their oxygen saturation. But how are we going to do pulse ox on, even at half of a high school? So you're talking about 1,500 kids. There's no way to do that.
Right.
And when Hillary was mentioning the lunch, in one of my subcommittee meetings, one of the principals in one of our high schools, and he was asking about the lunch, and I said, there is no possible way. There is no possible way you will have enough adults out there to keep all these 16 to 18-year-olds trapped in some 6-foot box that you think, imaginary box, that they're going to eat lunch. It's not going to happen. So from that, and I've had teachers from the teachers union contact me and asking me, and I honestly said there were no good options. Every option that we had, and I can't find a better word, but every option sucks. Every last one. There's the risk if our kids are back in school. We already know, just as Hillary mentioned, that the social and emotional risk for our kids. Our children who are at home, who are in abusive households, we're not keeping an eye on them. I have several kids that are homeless, are living in motels. I have no idea what's going on with them. I have non-compliant diabetic students. I mean, there's a lot, and we can't see them, and it breaks my heart. I've worked with kids where the whole family is living in one bedroom of an apartment, another family is living in another bedroom apartment, and then someone else is living in the living room, and there's 3 refrigerators in the living room, all with a lock for each family. You think they're logging in?
No.
Yeah.
That's
So those of us that are sitting at home, and yes, it's inconvenient for me, but I was able to, give my son his own laptop. We have Wi-Fi. We upped it. We can do these things. It's not something that we like, but we can manage it and do it. But our other families, for years, this is going to affect them for years.
right.
Whether it's one semester or 2, this is going to affect them for years.
I'm looking in the chat, and I'm gonna put this out. I'm pretty sure you're looking at it too, Lou. I'm gonna put a question out one of our folks out here, and I'm gonna read the statement, and I'm gonna let you ladies jump in. Okay. So the question is what about the children's mental health while being on lockdown? What about kids with autism who are not having their normal programs that they're so desperately need? What about children not being seen by teachers and school staff to identify potential abuse? Ladies, I'm gonna let you, the pros, take it away. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, go on, Hillary.
No, go ahead.
I was looking at something on TV. I think it was the Kern County Behavioral Health or something, and they were saying how the decrease in child abuse, when we call the hotline, the numbers had decreased so much since the kids have been out of school, because teachers are usually the ones that identify, that abuse, and we're mandated reporters. So we have to call in right away, and those numbers have dropped in the months of March until the end of the school year. And, it breaks my heart too, to know that those things are not being addressed right now. I mean, screenings, testings that cannot go on, special ed routines for special ed students that are not going on. That's really tough on the families. It's really hard for the parents to teach, an autistic child at home. They need the resources. They need the teachers. Those are all needs that we have right now. So, I know that at my school, the only people were still doing, I don't know if they were doing like distance home visits, knocking and running back and, talking and saying, are you guys okay? We have to be creative in how we do it, and use our social workers and, support staff to help as much as they can, but it's tough. It's hard. Those kids need those routines. They need people to check up on them and check in on them.
Right.
Yeah.
Hillary?
Yeah, I was going to piggyback on that idea, and also just say that I think that it really just increases the need for just common folks like you and I to check on your neighbors, check on those kids down the street that maybe you didn't see up until March, and then now you don't see them now. We have to all just be vigilant about checking on each other and taking care of each other. And, and if you feel like something doesn't feel right or something's wrong, then, you gotta, it's time to speak up and help each other. My heart goes out to those kids too, but I also think about the homelessness that's going to result as because people are losing their jobs, they're not going back to work, like all of these, this ripple effect. And that's kind of my fear as well, is that kids are not getting the services that they need because the school, is usually the identifier. But again, it just, we have to be human beings, and we have to start looking out for each other right now. And it affects students of color way drastically than, a lot more. That's a whole different show. So, we just really got to look out for each other.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Hillary. And I worry about the special needs aspect, because I've had students in my class during the end of the year. We did have the teacher coming in. I would be in the Zoom meeting with them. And on certain days they would show, certain days they wouldn't. Either the parent had to work or there was no one there to get them on. So I feel like, oh my goodness, they may have made so many strides while in the classroom and receiving services. But if that's dwindled over the summer, if they weren't involved or weren't checked on, or, continue to use the resources, and it could be because of a work situation, that is going to have a tremendous effect on how they are learning and how they're progressing.
And then I was in a call webinar last week with some of the doctors from Children's Hospital Orange County. And one of the doctors that came on, he was talking about just the uptake in suicide that he's seen among children since this began.
Lord. Now, when you say children, what ages are we? That basically, roughly, what ages are we talking about when we say children?
Up until 18. He didn't specify like the youngest age,
Mm-hmm.
but he did say that there's been an increase in child suicide.
Lord. Lou, what other question you got? Because I got one more for the ladies. Do you have anything for them? I do have one real good one.
I guess my question too, especially to to everybody, how are you managing like this crisis and trying to help your students? How much contact do you have with parents, and what's parents' role in helping with this situation? Because I know our job as parents is always to make sure they're fed, make sure they're clothed, make sure they're safe, all these things. But now we have to take on more of an educator's responsibility, and we get a better idea of what you guys go through. So hopefully going forward, that's going to be a good thing for you guys. But really, like, how's your communication with parents? What's your plan for communicating with parents to get everybody on the same page, so it's a better experience for the kids? Because it really is about them at the end of the day. So is there a plan for that? Are there discussions? Are there techniques that you guys are, planning for, or is it, kind of on a case by case basis?
I know
We have parent. We have parent communication, different platforms set up to communicate with them district wide, where they can directly text message me or message me and send a picture or have questions. And then the district sends out their messages through that way, as well as phone calls and, of course, newsletters, things on our website. But not all of them access those things.
Right.
It just depends on the parent. I feel like we have a lot of resources there for them. Like Shelly said, I had 30 kids in my class. I consistently at the beginning had 26, 27 kids participating. It was really great. But those last 3, I would say, like, what is it that I'm doing that I could do to help them? And I would reach out to the parents, email, ignore for maybe 3 weeks. Then finally, I would get a response back. Oh, I was working a different shift, or, oh, I'm working, I'm an essential worker. I have someone else watching my child. They can't get on. So it all depends on what's going on in that home and who do they have to help support them if they have to work away from home.
Gotcha.
Good.
Yeah, I think like parent involvement and connection is going to be so important. That's one of my number one things, just to get connected with the families and, meet them and communicate with them. So our district, I don't know if they've made a final decision yet about how we're going to meet the parents. There was something that was up there where they were saying that we might have groups of parents come into your classroom and meet. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Maybe 4 families at a time. I don't know. If we don't do that, then, I will have parent sessions to meet them, explain how to log on to some of these things, because you're right. They're going to have a bigger responsibility going forward. Before in our district, they weren't taking attendance at the end of the school year last year. This year, they're going to be held accountable for attendance. So no matter whoever's taking care of the student is going to have to learn how to log in and help them get on certain platforms and things. So that's, the parents' responsibility is going to go up. They're going to need a lot of help. So for me, I'm going to have to make those connections with those parents or grandparents or older siblings or whoever it's going to be that's watching over the children during the daytime. So it's going to be a big feat, but that's one of my big goals for the start of the school year, to make those connections quick.
Okay.
Well, with high school, it's a little different because I have 120 plus kids. you know, so that's a little different to manage. But what I would say with parents, particularly with parents who have kids entering high school, right now is a really good time to make sure that you provide the most up-to-date contact information for the high school, because a lot of information gets sent in an all call or an email or a voicemail or a newsletter home. And if your information is not correct, then you're not going to get the information. And right now, good communication is really, really, really important for kids that are starting high school, because they have to get used to high school. They have to get used to this high school they're attending. And now they got to get used to online school. So I think that's important. I also think it's just important to listen to your kids. You know, adults process emotions very differently, and we know how to push through things and keep going because that's just what we're trained to do. But kids are not trained to do that. So just really, really pay attention to your kids. I think behavior, their responses, and just kind of, I think that kids feed off of our energy a lot. And I am really mindful of that as a teacher in my classroom. So I have to make sure that like I'm doing that with my students because they're humans, you know?
Right.
You know, I was the same way though. I had like a Remind app and I was able to, you know, keep in contact with the kids. But the kids that I'm getting that are new this year, I won't have their information just yet. But I do, you know, hope to hopefully send an all email out or all call out to them to just kind of reach out, let them know, you know, we're here, you know what I mean? And we'll get through it. We'll get through it. So just staying positive. So.
Indeed. Net?
Well, for me, you know, so it's going to be a little different since I'm on the nursing end. But some things I've thought of, like with my IEPs, is trying to do more Google Meets to get those assessment questions answered. And fortunately, I'm in a high school district, so I can directly email the student, you know, and I'll CC email the parent, and I'll have to work with someone, you know, if there's a language barrier, I'll have to work with someone at the district just to confirm with the parent, call up, you know, to figure out who can do that for me.
Could you like real quick for the layman people out there that don't know what IEP is, can you just real quick, I know you throw those terms out. I want to make sure that folks understand what that is, know what that is. Because, you know, I know the teachers, you all know what it is, but our audience out there, some of them don't know, may not know what that is. So can you just let them know what that is?
Yes. So just for those children who have already been identified or who are being identified or going through assessment for special education, then I'll have an individualized education program, which, you know, and with the virtual, that brings on a whole different environment for these students. But one thing I think it was, like when Shelley was mentioning, and then Hillary knows with having high school, like Shelley was mentioning, you know, if the students have an older siblings trying to help them. So that's the thing about these high school students, with them logging on, a lot of them are going to be caring for their younger siblings at home.
That is true.
So them trying to log on, and a lot of them, like I was sharing with Shelley this morning, you know, I have kids in my high school that are emancipated minors, and they have to work because they're the only ones that they can rely on. So for them to try to work to survive and then stay in school, I'm really concerned that we're going to have a lot of kids just dropping out altogether.
Wow. This is, folks, this is as real as it gets. This is as real as it gets. And like I said, with individuals who are out on the front line, and ladies, I want to thank you all so much. I do want to invite you. We definitely want to have you back right when school starts, and kind of get a kind of recheck in to kind of how everything is. But me and Lou, we both appreciate, like I said, when we do this again, we definitely want to have a show dedicated to you all, because like I said, this is really critical, important, and it's really hit the nation, because most folks got kids going back to school like either next week or within next month of coming in August here in the next couple of weeks. And so once again, we appreciate you all for taking this time out tonight to join us, to throw this education out to our audience and beyond. And is there anything that you, each one of you, just want to kind of put out real quick before we let you all go?
I'll just say two things.
Mhm.
Because I hear all this negative talk about the teachers, and teachers just don't want to go back to school. And people have to think there's a bunch of teachers that are parents too. So not only will they be dealing with the virtual, but they have to be home and checking on their kids, logging in and doing all the work that they're supposed to do.
Mhm.
And then I'm not going to get political, but I will say it did not have to be this bad. It did
Talk
not.
about it.
Mhm.
Talk about it.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to say
Oh,
it
give her
did
the bell,
not-
Lou. I'm gonna get.
Do it.
Yeah.
I'm just looking forward to my school year and tackling the challenge that is ahead. I'm just looking forward to
Absolutely.
meeting my students and getting to it.
Right
That's what's
on.
up.
Right on. Right
That's what's
on.
up.
Tanisha.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say the same. It's a good thing, but I really want to know kind of where we're going to go with this. And I know that we're going to step it up. That's what we've been asked to do. And we do that for our children. But above all, I want to make sure that they're also staying healthy. And I'm hoping that these families are going to be able to participate at the level that we have planned out. We have some pretty high plans, some high standards to meet. And I don't know that everyone is going to be able to access those things, you know.
Right.
That's my prayer. I hope that they're able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Hillary, we'll end it with you.
I'm a teacher and I'm human, and I've been out of my classroom since March. I miss my kids. I miss teaching. I miss talking to kids. You learn more from kids than you probably do anybody, I think, because they're brutally honest sometimes. Well, all the time. And don't let anything out here fool you and saying that teachers are lazy and we don't want this and we don't want that, because we were prepared to go back to school and risk our entire lives so that your kids could get the best education. So we definitely we want things back to normal too. And I agree, we could have curbed this a long time ago, but
Long time.
anyway.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. You leave that to me and Lou. That's what our job is to do, to go on
Okay.
that. We'll let y'all relax. That's our job. But once again, ladies, thank you so much. We're definitely going to invite you back within the next month to come back and kind of an update and just some things, preparation as school's getting ready to start. Some of you are going to be starting earlier than others. And so, but once again, thank you all. We love you all. And we'll see you again next time. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Ladies, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Lou, man,
What up, man?
that's what I'm talking about, brother. That is what I am talking about. We have the realness of
Right.
of teachers, nurses, all that good stuff. And so Nisha's still there. I'm like, hey, she don't want to go.
Hey, appreciate. Hey, and the other thing, and this is something that we really gotta give props to the work that the sisters are doing.
Indeed.
On behalf of our kids, on behalf of our schools, man, they in there. There's brothers in there too. It's not just them. It's brothers in there that's handling it too. But sisters are really doing heavy lifting in the school district and in the school system at all levels. And it's like, and just props to them, because you can tell from the way they speak, man, that they love their kids, man. And this is important to them. And the thing about it is, and they care about the kids. And there's a level of caring that comes from that women are able to they're able to affect children in just a way that's just different from guys. It's different, there's a respect thing that we're really good at getting, instilling that in our kids, but women have an ability to instill the love and the nurturing aspect that they really need, and they still need it in high school, man. They're gonna need it beyond that. So just props to them for that. You can really tell that they're, that it really means everything to them, man. And this is a tough time for everybody, but they're gonna make it happen. You can tell, man. They all sound determined, and they're gonna make it happen.
Indeed. I'm not sure if there's something wrong with your audio. You're kind of crackling in and out. Okay. So I was kind of hearing it was kind of crackling. Now it's went away. So But no, like you said, I salute. I wanna thank you. I want to thank those sisters because it's honestly being a teacher is tough. I mean, I got quite a few teachers. My baby sister, who was beta president, over the teacher association for quite a while. She's in the room right now, and stated we all got to work together and be flexible during this crisis. We're school, family, teachers, parents, teachers, and community, and that's right. And so this is what's affecting us now. So it was important for Lou and myself, RSS, to really hit this head on, dealing with this crisis, this pandemic. And once again, salute to all you ladies. Once again, we appreciate you coming on.